Hey, Happy New Year's, guys. Today we are looking at a BPA, a blanket purchase agreement for security guard services over here in SAM.gov. And if you want to follow along, this is from our January bid list. So if you take a look at my screen, I believe it's number 28 here, BPA for security guard services. We can see already it's due January 10th, total small business set aside. And I do have the link here for you, the Google Drive link that was in last video that we posted, I believe. That way you can follow along and open that up if you would like to. Now we are also doing capture management training today, so no bid training. So we will also be using our capture worksheet here, which if you've seen the previous video on this, we quickly look for 10 pieces of information. We answer these 5 questions, and then ultimately we ask ourselves, based off of that information, are we going to make a bid, no bid? So this is training, this is practice, and this is something high level and tangible and practical that hopefully you will be implementing into your small business at some point. So this is what we're going to be going through today. So let's just go ahead and get started, and literally we're going to start filling this thing out. So the first thing we're looking for is response date. So I kind of already cheated and answered that from our worksheet, but I'm kind of showing you where to find that information. So date offers due, January 10th. That's where we find that. And I'm just gonna keep it easy and do copy and paste for myself. Next is the set aside. Come down here, total small business set aside. So we just grab this and we just keep on rolling. NAICS code is the next piece. So, did we already pass it? Oh, it's right here. 561612. So that's actually specifically for security guard and patrol services. So it's a nice NAICS code for this for sure. So now that's a quick couple of wins that we have here, pulling right off of the listing page. But now we're gonna have to dig into the documents just a little bit to find some more of this information. So taking a glance at the actual attachments we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attachments. And just by looking at the name or the nomenclature of the files here, we see SOL, which stands for solicitation. So this is probably going to be our meaty solicitation document, this SF1449 form. Next, we see DOL, wage determination. So, pretty helpful, right? We know this is probably going to be a wage determination. I see these 2 documents, numbers 1 and 3. They're talking about certification, vaccination, and vaccination certification notification to contractors. So we know this is probably going to be something to do with the new vaccination requirements for contractors. Some sort of way to certify that, any employees, any contractors that you have working on this contract will be vaccinated. So we can pretty much gauge this high level information just by reading the names of the files. Lastly, this says 2021 security contract, SOW. And we should know by now, SOW stands for Statement of Work, PWS. And most of us by now should know that's kind of the meat and potatoes of what the work actually is. So that'll be some more details on the work to be performed. So now that's kind of what we know what we're working with in terms of documents that we're going to be hunting through. It's not going to be too bad. We've got a solicitation and pretty much an SOW. Those are going to be the main things because the vaccine forms and the wage determination, there's not going to be a lot going on there. So it's really 2 attachments that we're going to pay attention to. And again, what we're about to look for is the place of performance. Scrolling down to the bottom of the listing page, we see that contracting is in Boise, Idaho. And this is something I recommend you get in the habit of doing, scrolling all the way to the bottom. Sometimes it's at the same area as contracting. Other times contracting's place of performance, they're contracting for a place of performance that's, on another base, another state, other side of the country, whatever. So it's not always, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. So let's go ahead and take a look first at the solicitation to find the place of performance. So I do already have that opened up. So this is the SF1449 form. Don't believe me, it says so right down here. But a lot of you guys are probably getting used to seeing this over and over and over again, which is great because repetition is the mother of skill. You just got to get those reps in, like working out. So we're looking for place of performance. We're hit with a lot of jargon immediately in here. And I'm kind of quickly, I'm seeing a period of performance, which I know is going to be our next question. So literally, guys, if you come across some of this information that you know is going to be important, just grab it. Don't wait. So February 1st, 2022, what does it say? Through, so, a full year through next January 31st. It's crazy how time is going by here though, man. 2023 we're looking at. But I do believe we have some option years in here. I'm seeing the word base, so I just kind of want to, yeah, here, I saw it initially up here. 12 months from the date of award with 4 additional option year periods. So we can literally just go +4 for now, option periods. So we have already answered now the period of performance. This is due, like we said, January 10th. The work is to commence February 1st. So contracting is giving themselves just a few weeks to evaluate proposals for this, to get this turned around, and to have a contractor kind of ready to go, at least on standby, for February 1st to start, this may be a follow-on contract, so to start continuing services. But let's keep our eye on the prize here. Place of performance, still kind of looking for that. And this is, again, period of performance. They're spelling it out here, but we're not seeing the place spelled out just yet. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a glance at our statement of work. And I know that I've got that pulled up somewhere. This is our first vaccine form, second vaccine form. Here is the wage determination. I thought I pulled it up ahead of time. Here it is. It's in a Word doc. So I'm going to go over to this SOW, statement of work, and see if anything just jumps out at me to kind of let me know where this work is going to be performed. And the introduction here, the National Interagency Fire Center in Boise, Idaho. Okay, so now I'm really starting to think that this is probably going to be in Boise, Idaho, is the nation's support center for wildland firefighting. Currently, 7 federal and state agencies are co-located here to coordinate and support wildland fire and disaster operations. The Bureau of Land Management administers this facility, which consists of 23 buildings, 73 acres, including aircraft ramps, taxiways, and storage. So I'm immediately very convinced that this does have to do with the place of performance here. So we're just going to copy this whole little thing here because this NIFC is an acronym that you're probably not familiar with because it's specific to the base here, but we're probably gonna want to know what it is if this is something that we're going to be going after. So place of performance is Boise, Idaho, and we already checked off the box our period of performance. So guys, January 10th, total small business. We got a security guard, NAICS code. We know this is in Boise, Idaho, and this thing kicks off next month, February, goes for a year, and then contracting has the option to execute 4 more option years. So for the right small business, maybe it's you, if you're in service-based business, this could be a really, really good contract. Again, a reminder, this is a BPA, like I said at the beginning of the video, blanket purchase agreement, which tells you they don't know exactly, this is kind of like a vehicle that they can pull you on. Hey, we need 5, hey, we need 10, it depends, and we'll probably see a little bit more about that too. So the next thing, this is what really you're required in your proposal response. These 3 things to look for. That's why this is something that I kind of make up and I put in here, but most commonly you're going to see a request for technical, past performance, and price, or some mix of the 3, maybe just 2 of them. We know price is always going to be a factor, obviously. So we're kind of looking for that as a grouping. And really what you could look for is evaluation factors to locate and find these within the solicitation document. So I'm going to go back to that. It's where I want to get started on this. So we're back to the solicitation. I didn't see it yet, so I'm just going to kind of scroll. I'm seeing a lot of FAR clauses. And let's see here, scrolling. 34-page document, guys. You do not read these word by word, page by page. You do a lot of scrolling, a lot of Control F like we did in the last training. We've got our reps inserts now, and we're almost to the end. And they stuck it all the way at the end, as they often do. And I did previously put in evaluation, so that's why it's showing in as yellow. Here, factor 1, factor 2, factor 3. They are literally spelling out price, technical capability, and past performance. So they're kind of telling us that these 3 factors are important to them. So it's not just price and past performance, it's literally all 3. So what I actually want to do, if I can get back to my document, I want to go ahead and put yes to each one of these so that we can kind of check the box on that. Now, this kind of just jumps out to me. Technical and past performance, when combined, are equal to price when determining award. So this tells us a couple things, like we're jumping ahead, but we're already into the procurement strategy. I'm just going to copy and paste this. This is not going to be a lowest price because they're telling us technical and past performance when combined are equal to price. So contracting cares that you have a good approach and that you've done something similar and relevant in scope and magnitude to this requirement in the past, whether in the commercial space or on a city, state, local, maybe even on a federal contract. They want to see that you've done something similar. Those two combined are going to be equal to price, right? So price only is not going to win you this thing. More specifically, they're telling you how this is going to shake out in the evaluations. So this actually, just like we jumped ahead a little bit on the place of performance, we're skipping ahead a little bit on the procurement strategy, just because it's jumping right out to me and I don't want to pass that up. So now that we have that answered, I want to know a bit more information about what do you want from me for a technical, for past performance, for price. Again, this is answering what do I put in the proposal response. What do you want from me, contracting? I want to give it to you, but I need to know what you want. I did not see an instruction to offers, which is usually what we practice and we preach here on the channel. I'll even search for instruction. So there's only two. It says instruction to offers here, but it does not exist in the document. It's nowhere in here because there's no more searches that are pulling it up. So all we have is evaluation. So that's pretty interesting. So what I'm going to do, underneath here, it just says options. The government will evaluate offers for award purposes. It's kind of jargon type stuff. This is not what we're looking for, this B and C right here. And then literally the document ends. Page 34 of 34 is this last little bit of a manufacturer clause. So that's like the end of the solicitation. We've pretty much gone through the whole thing. We did not read it word for word, but what I'm going to do is go back to the top, because this is something that I did kind of cheat a little and I looked at ahead of time, guys, because I don't want to waste your time on this video. So this was a little sneaky of what contracting did, which is why I say every bid is different. They didn't put an instruction to offerers in here. Derek, you say look for instruction to offers. Yeah, I do. So contracting got a little sneaky here, and what they did was they actually put it in this CLIN. Okay, this is a CLIN. This is where pricing CLINs go. Contracting should not be doing this. I'm not a contracting officer. I'm sure other contracting officers would agree with me. This is not the proper use for this, but they were sneaky. So let me show you what they did. As you can kind of already see though, they copy and pasted a whole bunch of stuff in this table, like pages and pages and pages, like we're at least 3 pages full with them putting it in here. So here's what they did. Your submission materials, your proposal response, can be emailed directly to the contracting officer, jnwright at blm.gov, okay? Bureau of Land Management.gov. All the following information must be included with your quote submission materials. Okay, you should have bells going off. My bells were going off as soon as I saw this, once I figured out the sneaky little game that contracting was playing. They're not trying to be sneaky maliciously, it's just they're not following the process that they kind of should be. So people, contractors, small businesses that are doing it the right way, it seems a little sneaky to us, right? So this is what you put in your response. Number 1, pricing for the base year. Period. It's actually literally a period there. Pricing for the base year. So they don't want you to price out the option years. So kind of what they're going to do is they're going to evaluate your pricing for the base year, and then they're going to kind of use that pricing, and if you won the contract, they're going to evaluate that to evaluate the option year pricing. My guess is, don't take my word for it, they may allow you to submit pricing for option years when they come, since this is a BPA, but they may not. They may kind of take your pricing, so that's something you would have to feel out with contracting. You could even submit an RFI, because I know prices, or I should say price escalation, is very much a thing, and you just never know. It's more flexible on a BPA than it would be literally if you're pricing out the option years in concrete, like sometimes they make you do. If that's the case, you're not going to really have any wiggle room. Whatever your your escalation you built in is going to be that. They're not allowing you to do that here. So just price out your base year and start there. So let's stop here, pricing for the base year. Let's go back to our sheet. Let's not lose track of what we're doing. So price, yes, we want pricing for the base year. This is what we need in a proposal package. Now we're getting somewhere. Next, they're talking about past performance. So let's see what they say. Offerer shall provide company organization name, contract number, name of contract person, phone number, blah, 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 for 3 contracts or orders or work performed within the last 2 years that's similar in complexity and magnitude. Okay? So they want 3 contracts in the last 2 years. That's what's important. 3 jobs in the last 2 years. And they want you to provide, the dollar value, the place performance, the period performance, a reference, a few sentences about what the work was. That's typically a standard boilerplate type thing to provide for 1 job. So do that times 3 jobs over the last 2 years. So cool, we answered that. Hey, we already did procurement strategy, so literally we have 9 out of 10 pieces of information. The last is for anything technical. They said yes to it, but let's see if there's something else. And I don't see anything else. So this is where they're saying any questions regarding this can be submitted by January 5th, which is in just a couple days from today. If you're actually going after this, you could ask the question. One of the questions that come up for me is, resumes. So let's go ahead and bounce back over to the statement of work, which is that Word document, because we only got 1 paragraph in here, and see if we find anything else out. So here's the scope, description of the work. So like if you were, say, hiring or recruiting, this is the information. Hey, what's my job going to be? When do I have to be to work? Like, what do I have to wear? What do I have to do? What do I have to say? Right? That's what is in the statement of work. That's what these bullet points are. So I'm not going to go through them line by line. But I believe in here there is somewhere where they talk a little bit about requirements. Okay, contract personnel security and suitability recs requirements. So they're telling us performance on this contract requires personnel to have a successfully adjudicated background, a secret security clearance. Okay, that should be okay. Hang on, that should be a big kind of I don't want to say warning, but warning, because most times if you don't have that, you're kind of just dead in the water. It can even be so prevalent depending on your industry that may be something that you add to your information that you're checking the box on your bid no bid, like what is the set aside, what is the due date, is there a security clearance required, right? Because you don't want to get deep into a contract to find out, oh crap, I don't have this, I just wasted my time. But it does say here the contracting officer's representative will be sponsoring, guys, and that is the key word when it comes to clearances. Sponsoring, the sponsoring official, and will initiate the process for the identity verification, the background investigation, security clearance, and card issuance. So it is actually quite rare to find a contract that will sponsor you. Sponsor means there has to be a reason, because you can't get a clearance, for example. You can't just be like, okay, let me submit my application to get a clearance to start going through the process, pay the money. That's not how this works. It is on a need to have only basis. So only companies, only contractors can get clearances who have them, which means there needs to be a need first. So it's kind of like putting the horse before the cart, right? Instead of the cart before the horse, because it's like, well, I need a clearance to get on the contract, but I need a contract to get the clearance, right? So that's why it is so difficult, and most times the solution to that is to be a subcontractor to a prime who already has, a contract where they're, performing a secret, top secret, whatever, and then have them sponsor you, right? But the government is saying that they will be the sponsoring official. So this is a very rare opportunity to get a security clearance process going. And they will more than likely give you some sort of interim so that February 1st or whenever you can start performing on the contract, and then the actual clearance will come down the road. So we don't usually talk about this type of stuff, but I do have some knowledge of it. So that's why I'm sharing that with you now. But what else are we looking here for? The last thing we're looking for is, let me go back to our sheet. Anything else about the technical, and I'm really not seeing it. I know, resumes are sometimes a thing, but they said somewhere in here where you must essentially provide the names of who the contractors are going to be. So if it were me, guys, that's kind of where my head would be at based on knowing this is a services contract. And I wouldn't be shy about emailing contracting to say, hey, would you like me to provide, straight up resumes, things like that as part of my technical response? So feel free to submit an RFI in addition to any, thing else that you think may be appropriate. Because remember, and we're about to move on in a second, but remember the procurement strategy. Technical and past performance, when combined, are equal to price. So technical is important, and it's going to, have something to do with your people and, showing you that your people have the vaccine. So that's also a part of this that you could include in your technical. But contracting has not been very straightforward and clear about that. That would be my first guess. And I would certainly get clarification on that so that I know I'm, dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, checking all the boxes before I spend any time to actually respond to this thing, right? So for our 10 pieces of information, we're going to call this good. And now all we have to do is move on to our last 5 questions and come up with an official bid, no bid. And again, we've gone through this really quickly. You definitely spend more time on this on your own. I'm showing you a strategy to be efficient and effective at getting some of the key information, extracting the key information that you can use to help make bid, no bid decisions. That's what this is all about today. So the first question, do you have time? Do you have enough time to respond by the due date? Okay, well, January 10th, we have a week, but this is a BPA, so they haven't asked for a lot of specifics. So I'm going to say tentatively yes. The pricing shouldn't be that bad. I guess we could just really quickly take a glance at that since we didn't. Where is it at? The wage determination. Here we go. The first thing I do with the wage determination, I check to see if they highlighted anything. That's my Control F. So it doesn't look like contracting highlighted anything. So then what I do is I go to my Control F. I'll type in like security guard or something like that to see if anything gets close. And when I do that, it takes me to this area, protective service occupations. Sounds close. The actual occupation codes underneath this, alarm monitor, maybe. We didn't really go into a whole lot of depth with the SOW, I know, but kind of close. Baggage inspector, probably not. Corrections officer, no. Court security officer, I don't think so. Firefighters, we've got guards level 1 and 2, so that could possibly be close, like a $15.80 base pay rate for a guard level 2, maybe something that would be a fit for this. And you could go ahead and look at other codes, but this is probably going to be close enough for you. So not getting a lot into wage determinations today, but I just didn't want to skip over that entirely. Next question though, does a set aside prevent you from bidding on this? It does not, because we established this as total small, so we were good on that. Can you perform the work as described in the PWS? Well, we're going to assume yes, but I know that we went through it quickly. Here is the description of the work in the SOW, and that's what all those bullet points were. So alarm monitor duties, entry control, reception, duress alarm, 911 calls, fire monitoring systems, CCTV operation duties. Seems fairly standard and straightforward. On-call guards will normally work in a heated air-conditioned guard station. That's nice. On-call contract guards may be called upon the discretion of the manager. 24/7 availability, so that's actually pretty good to know. Let's see, anything else that sticks out to me here? Site-specific training will be provided to the security personnel. Let's just see here. They're talking about body armor, weapon, magazines, handcuffs, boots. Talking about levels of training, minimum of human interaction, customer service, weapons, and defensive tactics. So this is what your people need to have. I know we kind of skipped over this, but we're here now. Vehicle personnel screening, inspections, law enforcement support. Yeah, so this is what I was referring to last thing. At least 2 weeks before the start of the contract, the contractor will identify all contractor and subcontractor personnel who will require physical or logical access to perform on this contract. So that's what I was talking about with the technical part of it, that you can kind of start lining up at a minimum, since they didn't get really specific, maybe provide the resumes for those folks, because at a minimum they're saying provide the identification for all the contractor and subcontractor personnel. Okay, so coming back, we're almost finished. Can you perform the work as described in the PWS? We're going to go ahead and say yes, it looks fairly standard. Remember that secret security clearance is a thing, so just keep that in mind. Can you satisfy all required evaluation factors? What were those? Those were the technical, past performance, and price. So the price was the base here. Should be pretty straightforward on that. Past performance, you either have it or you don't, right? It doesn't have to be government work. It can be commercial business-to-business work that you've provided guard services as well. That's more than fine. And then the technical, again, we keep kind of circling back to that because we have a few questions. So it's up to you. For some of you, it may be a yes. For some of you, it may be a no. So we'll go ahead and say yes because we've identified them. We know what they are. They're fairly straightforward. You either got it or you don't. And then is there an incumbent with previous award info on this? I found zero information about that. Sometimes contracting will post that. What you can do also is include that in your RFI. What is the contractor's name? What is the previous vendor's name performing on this? Is there an incumbent on this contract? What was the previous award dollar value? This is a BPA, so you may not get straightforward information, but that is the type of question you could submit to get additional information on this final question. This could help you put together your response, get you in some sort of a ballpark. Okay, so now this brings us to our final bid, no bid. I think this is a pretty good one based on the information we've gathered. I would say it would be a bid. If there were some other things like a short response date, or say they weren't sponsoring for secret clearance, I would probably be more of like a maybe. But this looks like a pretty straightforward, like you kind of know what you're getting into when you click on this on the SAM.gov listing. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a bid. So let me know if this would be a bid for you, if this is something you're in the service-based arena, something that would be interest. Would this be a bid for you, or would this be a no bid for you? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully you got some support from this training. Before I let you go, keep in mind, you should have seen it by now, but we are opening enrollment as of January 1st, just a couple of days ago, for the first FedBid Small Business Incubator Program that kicks off in February. This is a beta round, so if you're looking to learn how to respond to these solicitations that we're reviewing and doing training on, if you want to actually put the proposal packages together and you want support doing that, that's what the first FedBid Incubator Program is for. And it is a beta round, which means you'll be working a little bit more on the same level with me going through it, because I will literally be creating it as we go through it week by week. And then there will also be the opportunity for questions directly with me, like on a Zoom call, so that you can get all the support that you need. So that's going to be what the beta round is captured in. So if you're interested in doing something like that, you want to work with me on that, I will provide a link for that in the description of this video. Just check it out for the first FedBid Incubator Program. Click on the link. It'll ask you a few questions to see if it's a good fit. And if so, it will allow you to book some time on my calendar where we can have a half an hour conversation. I can learn more about your business, and we can see if this is a good fit to move forward with that way. So hopefully you like this video, guys. Hopefully you like the bid, no bid training. Hopefully you're starting to implement some of these trainings in your business that we've been going through over the last month or so. So click that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and take care.